Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about mastering the standards. Yesterday, in your second period, you probably heard about the fact that you must learn just the big ideas of each class in order to pass. But the question is, how will we know if you learn those big ideas, which we call standards or state standards? Every time you take an assessment in your classes, your teacher is going to grade it just like they always have. But in addition to that, they are also going to give you a rating that will help you understand how your learning is going on each of those required standards. Okay, so here's an example of the ratings that we will use. So it goes all the way from 0 up to 4. The only way you can get a 0 is if you don't do the assessment at all. Like if you were absent and you didn't make up the test, or if you didn't submit the assignment, that would be a 0. Otherwise, you would get minimally proficient all the way up to highly proficient. Okay, and in order to pass your classes, like we talked about yesterday, you need to just master the standards. And these ratings right here are going to show you how you have accomplished that goal. So if you score a 3 or a 4 on an assessment, that means you demonstrated mastery of the standard and you are good to go on that standard. If you got a 3 or a 4, so if you're proficient or highly proficient, that means you mastered that standard. So let's do an example. So let's pretend that your class is learning 3 standards this semester: cats, dogs, and fish. And we can talk about who's a cat person and who's a dog person later, but dogs rule, I'm just saying. All right, but to pass this class, in this situation, you would need to prove that you mastered all 3 standards by earning a rating of 3, which is proficient, or 4, highly proficient, on the assessments for each of those standards. So you would have to get proficient or highly proficient on cats, and proficient or highly proficient on dogs, and highly proficient or proficient on fish as well, all 3. So here we go. Let's have an example. So let's say you took a test on cats. You did another assessment, which was an essay that you had to write about dogs. And then you took a quiz on fish. So your teacher would give you your score like they always would and a rating. Let's say they got 3 proficient for cats. The essay about dogs, you got a 3 proficient. And you got a 4 highly proficient for your quiz on fish. So woohoo! That means you would have demonstrated mastery of all 3 standards, so you would pass the class. It's as easy as that. Let's do another example. Same assessments. You got a test for cats, essay for dogs, quiz for fish, but let's change up the ratings a little bit. So this time you got a 3 again, proficient for your test on cats. Ooh, moving up in the world, you got a 4, highly proficient for your essay on dogs, and a 2, partially proficient on your quiz about fish. So would you pass in this scenario if these were your ratings? Wah, wah. You would not. Even though you got a 3 and a 4 for cats and dogs, for fish, you only got a 2, and you need to have at least a 3 for all of the standards. Okay? But what's this? What? Later in the semester, your teacher gives you a test also on fish. And this time, you got proficient. That means, hooray! You passed all 3. You demonstrated mastery of all 3 standards and you would pass. Even though you got a 2 for your quiz on fish, later you were able to demonstrate proficiency and mastery of that skill and standard by getting a 3 on a test over the same standard. So you would pass. It's as easy as that, okay? So to review, to pass your classes, all you need to do is prove that you mastered the standards by earning a rating of a 3 or a 4 on the assessments for each standard. That's it. Happy learning, everyone.